presentation about immune health right here at the Gesundheit Nutrition Center in Bozeman. My name is Jacobus Hollewijn. We are thankful for you tuning in. We think you will learn quite a bit today. We're in tough times. The whole world is kind of upside down. There is not one specific method during this coronavirus crisis that I would say this is what you have to follow. So please, whatever you do, feel good about it. The recommendations about keeping distance, washing your hands, maybe quarantine yourself, are all very practical suggestions. I have no problem with that. I don't criticize it. So please do what you can as you participate in this special prevention to avoid getting the coronavirus. My issue is this. For me, and also for quite a few people who are interested in natural health, we feel that when you look back into history and you see the tremendous amount of wealth of information that has been researched, tried, tested, failed, succeeded through thousands of years, there is a tremendous body of information that is coming, that has built up through centuries. And we feel that to look into a virus that we're dealing with right now and what we can do for our own immune health, we should look further than just Western medicine. At least, if you're happy with the suggestions, stay with it. And I still think the suggestions are great. But when it comes to the knowledge base of everything we know is like 100%. It's 100%. Out of that 100%, 20 to 25 is maybe Western medicine, allopathic medicine as we know it today. Been around for about 125 years. Somehow, Western medicine has been very aggressive, and they feel that it's all the knowledge that we have about medicine is coming from that modality. But the more we study, the more we read, the more we listen and communicate with others, we know there is acupuncture, there is yoga, there is Ayurveda, there is traditional Chinese herbology, there are essential oils, there are gemstones, there are different therapies that people have used, Western herbology that started in Greece and Italy, to use that information, and therefore to share that information could broaden our vision and could broaden our approach about how to protect ourselves from the virus, not only this time but in years to come, and could be helping us on a daily basis. So what we feel we wanted to do is highlight some of those practices that have been used by people for a long time. Pure essential oils, going back to the time of Egypt, 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. Chinese traditional medicine, regular herbal medicine, Ayurvedic therapies. We can tap into all these modalities to strengthen our body and to strengthen our mind. So it is not just about symptomology. It's not just about how can we treat a symptom. No, we need to look at how can we work with our body as a whole, our mind, our spirit, our emotional body, and our emotions are very much under attack today. Most of the media out there is giving so much information. A lot of you are scared. You're just scared because you don't know if you're going to be the next victim. So please, we want you to be healthy, we want you to be strong, we want you to be happy, we want you to be prosperous, we want you to be successful in whatever you undertake. What we're going to do today for you is present you some other options. So 3 people who work here at Gesundheit Nutrition Center, Lani Del Duca, Jan Lynch, Margie Mills, who is a guest speaker today, will present to you different options. We're going to start with Jan. Jan is going to explain to us more about pure, natural, essential oils that can be used for antiviral properties. We're going to have Lonnie, who will discuss diet and specific foods to work more in, to help us more in an alkaline environment, and food that can be used for natural immunity. Jan will also discuss gemstones, and then Margie will explain more about herbs. What can we do with herbs? So please enjoy it, take some notes. We are recording, we're going live, but we also record through another camera so that we can edit it and place it on other social medias in the days and weeks and months to come. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll give Jan the microphone.
Center for the past 7 years. This topic of essential oils, I have been practicing an essential oil practitioner for 18 years, practicing the modality of a holistic aromatherapy. Holistic aromatherapy is proving to be one of the most effective ways to use essential oils for optimal results. Western aromatherapy has made tremendous strides in researching the therapeutic uses of these oils and also the chemistry, but there still needs to be a strategy and a methodology for applying them and also for formulating them. Sometimes some blends are just purely antiviral. The beauty of the holistic aromatherapy is that you create a strategy. The way how I practice the essential oils are according to Chinese medicinal principles. And so I won't use too much jargon today, but this is the method that I use and I have found to be most effective from that time. So, what is qi? Chinese medicine is founded on the principle of qi, or life force, or absolute energy for every living thing on this planet. You cannot live without qi. Ted Kapchuk, doctor of Chinese medicine and author of the classic The Web That Has No Weaver, describes the function of qi. Qi protects the body. It is responsible for resisting and combating pathological environmental agents when they invade the body. And we're talking about flu, allergies, weather, that kind of thing. If you cannot resist them, your qi is deficient. The second concept that we're going to deal with, sorry, one second. So this is the slide on qi. The second concept that we're going to deal with is wind. What is wind? Kapchuk also explains that wind in the body resembles wind in nature. The microcosm is taking part in the life of the macrocosm. Wind invades the body and is usually accompanied by cold or dampness or heat. Just an aside, this particular coronavirus, and what I have heard from people that are Chinese herbalists, this one seems to be, the energetics is hot damp. So we're dealing with hot damp wind condition. The Neijing says that injury by wind first affects the upper parts. Wind shows itself in the upper and outer portions of the body, especially in the face, skin, sweat glands, and lungs. Sometimes people affected by wind will record recent exposure to drafts. Wind is also accompanied by fever, which is a sign that there is a conflict between the body's upright qi and invading wind. Signs of wind invasion would be fear of drafts, sweating, sudden headaches, stuffy nasal passages, itchy or sore throat. For a deeper understanding, we're going to go back to the 17th century Ming Dynasty, to the Wenbing School of Healing, which was dedicated to the study of prevention and treatment of pandemics. Wu Yuke, a physician of that school, proposed the theory of pestilent qi, or viral invasion. Interestingly, he was the first to assert that these pathogens enter the body through the mouth or nose. My teacher, Dr. Jeffrey Yuen, he is renowned, he's world renowned, he's 88th generation Taoist priest, and he also is a master of Chinese medicine, herbology, essential oils, stone medicine, qigong, tai chi. This presentation is based on his pioneering work and his translation of the Wenbing protocol into essential oils. Jeffrey is recognized internationally as a master of many things, and so this particular lecture is based on a lot of his pioneering work. The immune system, the response to the beginning of a cold or flu is localized in the mucous membranes of the respiratory tract. Essential oils for colds, everyone has their toolbox or oils that they work with, but this is what I have seen and experienced to be effective. The oils rosemary verbenone, tea tree, eucalyptus radiata, or globulus, and niuli. These oils help the body to launch a powerful immune response. Rosemary verbenone breaks up phlegm. It's a great expectorant for bronchitis, and it softens the mucus in the nose. Eucalyptus radiata clears heat from ear, nose, and throat conditions. It's gentle for children, and it breaks up mucus. It is also antiviral, and it strengthens the lungs. There are 3 stages of invasion when a virus can enter the body. We're going to be dealing with this today. There's the initial stage, the critical stage, and the recovery stage. But I'm going to just talk more about the oils that you can also use in terms of boosting your immunity. You want to use essential oils that have a powerful moving effect, oils that move through the system very rapidly. These oils are usually high in a chemical constituent called monoterpenes. Examples would be top note oils. When I say a top note, I'm talking about oils that evaporate within about 3 hours, like the various eucalyptus oils. Eucalyptus citrodora. Energetically, this oil is cooling and can be used for fever, heat, and sweating. Eucalyptus globulus can be used for chills, body aches, and pains. And eucalyptus radiata is a really great one for children because it's a gentle eucalyptus. And so it also works very well with upper body conditions, like stuffy nasal passages, that kind of thing. Eucalyptus smithi, S-M-I-T-T-H-I, or Eucalyptus polybractea, which is sometimes known as blue gum eucalyptus, is great for breaking up mucus. And then there's also Eucalyptus dives for pneumonia. If you blend 50 drops of Eucalyptus globulus, 10 drops terebinth, which is the essential oil of turpentine, 30 drops rosemary, you can diffuse this or also make smelling salts or use one of those blank inhalers. And this is a really great one in terms of the beginning stages of a cold. You can also add some Ravintsara or Ravintsar, because Ravintsara is also it also has antiviral properties. To also drive out latency during the first part of a cold, you can do dry brushing or take an aromatic shower. And our aromatic shower is when you use any combination of these oils and you just put them on a washcloth and you just wash the upper part of your body and you get into a hot shower. So that is how you take an aromatic shower. So the initial, I'm going to keep going actually with the single oils. Melissa is a really great oil that can be taken. It helps, but it stops virus from spreading to other parts of the body. It's also, the other name for Melissa is lemon balm, but it also stops the viruses from spreading to other people if you are diffusing it. It's pretty expensive, but we'll talk about some other alternatives of aldehyde essential oils later that you can also use in terms of diffusion. Ravensar is a really great one also for muscle aches and pains. So if you have a cold and you have those body aches, you can also take a bath with the Ravensar. So for the initial stage, there is the body is struggling with the pestilent chi and the body's immune system. So during that struggle, you can use oils like the ones that I have mentioned, because these are oils that actually help to build the immune system up quickly. And dry brushing is also a great medium. You can put these essential oils, any combination of these oils, over the lymphatic system, the lymphs, the upper limbs, and also limbs of the under the arm. And then you can also, well, actually I would say that you would want to do some dry brushing first, and then apply the essential oil, and then take a hot shower or put a hot wet washcloth over the area, and that will drive the essential oils quickly into the area and help to resolve things, actually help things to move through a lot faster. So that is like for the initial stage of dealing with an infection. During the critical stage, either the immune, just pay, so that you have in mind that we are using the actual one brain principles of dealing with the four stages of a viral invasion. So the critical stage, either the immune system or the upright chi or energy expel the pestilent chi or virus, or it would hide in the body. So during this stage, you're going to be dealing with the inflammatory response. The body creates fever and inflammation. In these high fevers, a lot of the pestilent agents can be destroyed. On the other hand, the body can potentially be damaging its own organs and fluid system, and an abscess can develop in the lungs. So to clear this, you want to use essential oils like cajeput, myrtle, cedar, or cypress. If the person has a lot of phlegm, use Atlas cedar to help expel the phlegm. Atlas cedar is really a great oil for breaking up especially lymphatic congestion. So it's also one that can be used over the limbs, and along with the modality of dry brushing. Wheezing, chronic rhinitis, runny nose, use myrtle. For headaches, signs of inflammation in the nerves, use Roman or German chamomile, rose, or helichrysum. For heat in the intestines, which is basically going to be stomach flu, diarrhea, chronic constipation causing hemorrhoids or piles, lemon, melissa, clary sage. These oils help to soothe the gut and build the mucous membrane or the yin of the gut. So the third principle that we're going to talk about here is hydration. This is this is part of the the stage where you actually help to hydrate the body. This is the third principle. I'm sorry, my slides got a little mixed up here. Anyway, this is where you where you are actually recovering from this tremendous heat in your body from fevers, and you want to hydrate the body. So you want to assure that the body can hold on to the fluid and to keep the heat under control. So you want to use oils that prevent dehydration. And these oils are geranium, sage, rose, oak moss. Another way to hydrate, to make sure that the body is producing enough blood, spring or winter savory, thyme geraniol, Roman chamomile. These bodies maintain hydration in terms of hydrating the blood. And the fourth principle is boosting your immune system. This is the strengthening of the body's immune system by not stimulating but modulating it. The oils of niaouli, coriander, thyme, thyme linalool, pine, caraway, spruce, cinnamon leaf, and cumin. These oils are very effective for that stage. So dealing with the pathogenic invasion, you want to identify the major symptoms. You can use any of the oils that we spoke about in the first part. You want to deal with the inflammatory response, which is the fever. And you want to promote hydration from the fever. Then, after that, you want to strengthen the body's upright qi. It's important to understand with essential oils, they all have various notes. There are top note oils because this is going to help you create your blend properly. The notes notes, like I said, represent the rate of evaporation, how long the essential oils remain in the bloodstream. So top note oils, these remain in your system for about 3 hours. And these are the various eucalyptus oils that we mentioned, and also some leaf oils like the peppermint, and also some flowers like the lavender, and then there are also the citrus oils as well too. So these are the top note oils. It's good to understand the various notes in terms of creating your blend. For the middle note oils, a lot of these oils are spices. Spices are very moving, so they really help to resolve situations quickly. Like for instance, coriander essential oil, clove, these oils are very strong antivirals, and so they really get into your system quickly. There are also the leaf oils and the needles. The needle oils especially have a resonance for your lungs. They really help to build your lung qi. And so they're really important, especially in the beginning stages in boosting your immune system quickly, and also the end stages when you're going through recovery. And then there are also the floral oils like the chamomile. Chamomile, especially German chamomile, is a great oil to rub on the bottom of your feet, especially if you have a high fever. So that would be how you can use some of these, the middle note oils. The base note oils are oils that are mostly coming from roots, like ginger, resins, frankincense, myrrh, and then you all know the flower oils like the ylang-ylang, the rose, the geranium, that kind of thing. These oils take at least about two days to evaporate from your system. So for a blending strategy, usually when you are blending according to the system that I do, the holistic aromatherapy, according to Chinese medicinal principles, there's always a strategy with Chinese herbs and also the essential oil strategy following the Chinese medicinal principles. So your first oil is going to be the principal oil. This is the oil that's going to set the tone of the blend, and it's going to have the most impact on the condition. So so the oils that I mentioned earlier, just choose one that really describes the condition that's predominating what you're experiencing. The second oil is the enhancer oil or the prime minister. This particular oil is going to support and enhance the principal oil or the emperor. This treats the secondary condition. The third oil is going to balance the opposites, because sometimes the oils that you might use, the first or the second, there may be some kind of, sometimes there can be, one oil can neutralize the other, or one oil might also have really kind of like a caustic or irritating effect on the lungs or the skin. So the harmonizer oil will help the blend to work better, and also neutralize the side effects of the intensity of the oil. The catalyst oil is the oil that will actually help to take the oil for that particular part of the body. It guides the direction of the formula. Like say, if you wanted to keep an oil, like say, like if you had nasal congestion and you wanted to keep it in the upper part of the body, you can use lavender or rosemary, because these are top note oils that have like an ascending property. They are more, this is like what you call the directionality of the oil. They ascend, but if you wanted to use an oil, like say, if you were having a problem with your foot, your toes, your foot, the lower part of your body, you can use ginger or spikenard, because these are roots. And so these would actually direct the oil and help the effect to stay in that particular part of the body more efficiently. So, as we said, you want to select that oil that targets the nature of the condition. So, this is going to be either the eucalyptus oils that will help to target the upper part of the body, or whether you're having muscle aches and pains, you want to use Ravensar. If you are having, like, especially also the muscle aches and pains can also be basil, because viral conditions can also have stiffness in the muscles and sinews. And then also Litsea, because Litsea is also a great oil that can penetrate into the joints. So for this kind of combination, you can also even just put a combination of oils, like not exceeding 20 drops, into your bath water. I remember once when I had the flu, I was really too debilitated to go to take a bath. So I just really got a spray bottle, a 4-ounce spray bottle. I made like a dilution with no less than about 40 drops of a combination of Ravensar, some Eucalyptus citrodora, some terebinth, and also some peppermint. And I just really spritzed my joints, because those are really effective oils for really just cooling off the body. And then I also got some, German chamomile, also Eucalyptus citrodora, or even peppermint, and you rub that on the bottom of your feet, because these would help to draw the heat out from the bottom of your feet. German chamomile is ideal, especially working with kids, but the thing is that it's a very expensive essential oil, but it does have a constituent called azulene. That gives it its blue color. And what the azulene has a particularly powerful anti-inflammatory property to it. So the other one that also has the azulene, that's also just like the German chamomile, is yarrow. Yarrow is also a particularly powerful anti-inflammatory oil. So you can also use these if you have a high fever to draw the oils out from the bottom of your feet. So you want to also, strengthening immunity is really important. And these are the kind of oils that you can use even now at this point, really just work every day if you're concerned about catching, this virus is going around. You can use any of these oils mentioned on this slide. The bay laurel. Bay laurel is it's a really good oil for your lungs. It also helps to break up profuse phlegm. Black spruce is also great for your lung qi. It helps to boost your lung qi. Niaouli is also another great oil for boosting immunity. And then we also have your eucalyptus oils. So you can create a blend of any one of these oils. You can take an aromatic shower every day if you want. Just put it on a washcloth. Put some kind of combination of these oils on a washcloth. Just rub your chest, your back, basically your torso, your lymph nodes. Take a hot shower, and these will drive the oils into your body and also help to boost your immune system. I'm not going to really get into taking oils internally, but the one oil that I would say that is very effective, is one of the most powerful of the antiviral oils, is Melissa or lemon balm. And this is a really great oil that you can take. You can put like 3 drops in a capsule or in some honey, just a little bit of honey, aloe vera, or even some nut milk, like an ounce of nut milk, and take that about 3 times a day, because Melissa is a really great oil for boosting immunity. But also, if you are dealing with a feverish condition, Melissa also helps to prevent viral replication. So I will recommend that oil highly in terms of being a really powerful antiviral. So this is some of the information on what I just spoke of regarding identifying the major symptoms and signs. Chamomile to your system, because the pores of your body will absorb them really well. With the hydration, using the geranium and the rose, or even oak moss, which is a more difficult one to find, you can even just spritz your body with these oils, with the geranium or sage. You can just make a spritz in order to, if you're too debilitated to get up and take a bath, really you can just spritz. Spritzing is fine. These are the oils to help to strengthen your immune system. I want to say that thyme oil and cinnamon leaf, if you're going to take a bath, be careful, because these oils can be irritating for your skin. So I would definitely recommend using the niaouli, the coriander, the pine, and even some cumin. But if you do want to use a little bit of thyme or cinnamon drops, or cinnamon leaf, don't exceed more than 2 or 3 drops to a blend in a bathtub, because these oils can be irritating. So you want to target, like we said, you want to target the nature of the virus, deal with the inflammatory response, promote hydration, and strengthen your immunity. Now, getting down to making an actual blend, you want to create a blend from any of the oils mentioned. You want to choose 1 or 2 for the 4 stages of this condition that apply to you. Try not to exceed 6 or 7 oils. 6 or 7 oils can become confusing for the brain to process. So really try to keep it simple, but try to just target using the oils that apply to you. So you want to use at least 50 drops of essential oil taken from anywhere in this presentation to 1 ounce of carrier oil. So that would be effective. Like I said, you want another point that is also very effective for the body is the kidney 1 point. You can always look it up at the on the internet. It's called Bubbling Spring. It's right on the bottom of the feet, and it really helps to boost the immune system. The kidney, to massage the oils into the kidney 1 point. And also don't forget lymph nodes, very important, especially the upper lymph nodes. Aldehydes. What are aldehydes? Aldehydes actually are chemical constituents that are highly antiviral. It's interesting that a lot of the aldehydes come from the grass, essential oils that come from grasses like citronella, lemongrass, palmarosa, Melissa. Then we can also add the Litzia, which is also called Meichang. These oils you can also apply, some kind of combination of these oils you can apply to the bottom of the feet also for if you have a high fever. These also help to lower fevers. Aldehydes are really interesting because they also penetrate into the pore. They also help to open up the pores. And they also are very calming. So that would be a really nice combination during this time, because this is a time when we also need to maintain calm. We have a combination oil here at the Gesundheit Nutrition Center. We'll have some more next week. It's called nasal viral defense. And this oil, you can actually, it's very high in the aldehydes, and you can actually rub your nasal passages with this, and this can also help in terms of potentially protecting from virus. These aldehyde essential oils, you can also diffuse. I would recommend adding patchouli because patchouli is a really great fumigant, and it has very strong disinfecting properties. A blend with patchouli, citronella, and camphor, those are really great anti-epidemic oils that you can put in your diffuser. If you don't have a diffuser, then you can also just put these oils in a spray bottle, say like about 20 drops of each, and you can just spritz the atmosphere. So, thank you for viewing. I hope you all stay healthy. And if there are any questions about this, you can always email me at crystaldragonaromatic@yahoo.com, and I'd be very happy to answer any of your questions. But the essential oils are very powerful agents, and if you use them the right way, they really can help to mitigate a lot of potential situations and symptoms, and also to protect, because they also help to raise your vibration as well too, if you wear them, if you have to go out. And also to remember to, wash your hands with hand sanitizer with essential oils. You can also put the essential oils in your mucous membranes of your nose. So I wish you all a great day, and thank you very much.
My name is Lonnie Del Duca, and my nickname's Lonnie. My full name is Leilani. My background is I taught as a Montessori teacher for 22 years. I have a BS in elementary ed and a BS in nutrition. I was raised with health food. So I'm going to start off with a really funny story first, kind of zip things up a little bit. My mom got into health food when I was 11. So I have some great stories, but the most embarrassing, I was 13, and my mom would make homemade yogurt, and she would put orange concentrate in it, blend it up so it'd be kind of a real thick smoothie. So at lunchtime, I would pour it, and everybody would go, "Ooh, what's that?" And I would say, "It's yogurt." "Well, what's yogurt?" "It's fermented milk." "Ooh!" So of course, this is when I was 13. And so every time I opened my lunch, everybody's staring because no one had whole wheat brown bread made homemade, thick on one side, kind of get skinny. So we moved to a new school, and my mom would put this yogurt in the thermos, and so I would pour it out, get this huge reaction. Well, in this new school, I'd only been there like 4 days. So now think Albuquerque, springtime, warm weather, real yogurt in a locker, about 70 degrees. So, braces, the cat glasses. And so I get out my lunch, and of course I have to go through all the ooze, and then I take off the cup part of my thermos, set it down, and I start to undo the stopper. It blows up, it gets in the other kids' hair, it's on the table, it's all over, the kids are screaming. The principal comes over. "What's wrong?" And of course, I'm sinking down in my seat. And the kids, So anyway, I know about
Fermentation.
So it was quite embarrassing. I went home, I told my mom, "I never drink, taking that to school again." So I want to talk a little bit about how to use food as your first line of defense when it comes to viruses. And I guess I would title this, Food is Your Best Medicine. We're going to do a little bit of biochemistry, but I'm going to make it very simple. And then we're going to proceed, and from there we're going to talk about a little bit about vitamins and minerals. From there we're going to go into your emotions, because there's a lot of emotions right now. So first of all, the word homeostasis. That means your body's trying to stay in balance, no matter what. So when I got my degree in nutrition, we were taught the pH of your blood, not your saliva, not your urine, should be 7.35. Now since then I've read 7.45. But the point of the story is your body's constantly trying to keep you in that range. You go down a tidge, you die. You go up a tidge, you die. It's very sensitive. In one day, your body changes your blood pH 500 times, trying to keep it in that balance. So your body says, he just had a soda, what can we do? We're becoming too acidic. So your body is going to buffer your blood to make it less acidic. To do that, it needs minerals. The biggest ones, of course, are calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium. That is called blood buffering. So when you get sick, all sickness, even diseases like cancer, is from being too acidic. So even cavities. So your body is trying to get you back in balance. So what's happening? Osteoporosis. Your body's pulling minerals from your bones and teeth. The same thing with cavities. It's hard to maintain. Most of our diet is not very acidic, but it tends to be acidic. So I'm going to give you some ideas of different things you could do to help try to get it back in that medium range. But we're going to kind of go through a little bit here. Hang on. So I want to talk about one more thing. This is called the sodium pump. This is kind of cool. This is your cell. Potassium sits in the cell. Sodium sits outside the cell. There's a constant exchange from sodium going in, and it gets kicked back out. So let's say your body wants to grow some hair. So we're going to skip some of the fine points because it'll make your head spin. But your body sends out a message. When it sends out the message, he picks up methionine, which is an amino acid. Then he picks up sodium. Then they'll pick up, let's just make it up. Let's say to grow some hair, you need lysine, leucine, and arginine. First it'll grab lysine. Choo-choo, it goes into the cell, and then the sodium and the methionines kick back out. Then it'll pick up leucine. Takes that into the cell, then the sodium's kicked back out. So this is very cool. So the sodium always is out here in the interstitial fluid. Now, you get too much potassium in your diet, the cells are going to swell. Too much sodium is going to kind of make the cells get smaller. So it's high blood pressure here kind of. Okay? So constantly, in and out, in and out. This is called the sodium pump. Okay, just a second, gotta look at my notes. No matter what, in all things, when you are eating, you are seeking balance. Let's say you go have some buffalo burger. Buffalo burger is very high in sodium, so you're going to seek something that's going to make it a little more balanced. So you might put ketchup on it. So I made up this lovely little chart here. Hang on. I'll turn it up. Let me explain this way first. Potassium one side, sodium on the other. These foods tend to be higher in sodium in ratio to potassium. So You have some eggs, and you might put some ketchup on it, which has sweetener in it, right? Or you go to a bar, they have alcohol, and you might have some salted peanuts with it. So you're seeking balance. You're always seeking balance. So I just want to illustrate this because a lot of times people think that they're a bad person because they always want sugar. So I would say to them, what are you eating over here that's making you want to balance this teeter-totter? Now speaking of sugar, sugar is not good. And sugar is probably the worst thing you can do right now for this virus, because sugar is going to lower your immune system by making you too acidic. So you become too acidic, then you're going to become susceptible to viruses, colds, etc. Sugar will destroy all the B vitamins and vitamin C in your body. Boom, right away. So keep that in mind. Okay, what is the fastest way to alkalinize your system? The fastest way is to chew. That sounds really funny, but I challenge everybody, when you eat, maybe tonight at supper, count how many times you chew one bite. Let's pretend you get up to 6. I challenge you for the next week, try to move it up to 10. Then the week after that, move it up to 15. The more you chew, the more you can alkalinize food, even food that is junk. You can still alkalinize it. So I'm going to tell a great story here. In World War II, there was this guy who was on a boat. He was Czechoslovakian. And there was like, okay, I'm just going to make up the number because I can't remember exactly, but like 319 men on this ship. They were put into a POW camp. They were captured by the Nazis. And they were horrible. They were getting like a crust of bread per day and very watery soup with maybe a leaf of cabbage. That was it. So there wasn't anything for these guys to do. So he thought, well, you know, I have nothing else to do. There's nothing to eat. So I'm going to just chew this water. And he noticed as he was chewing it that he started feeling warmer. And so he said, so for after about a week, he kept doing this and he kept increasing the amount of time. He's sloshing around and chewing water. So he started telling his other shipmates, all of them. So by the end of when they were let out of the POW camp, out of the 319, there were 17 left. And those were the ones that were chewing the water. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So chewing is your first line of defense for anything. The more you chew it, the more the amylase comes in, the more you're going to alkalinize that food. So that's number one for getting you back into balance. Some other things that are very good food-wise, miso soup. I'll give you a recipe in a minute. Miso soup is wonderful, even for kids. My kids were kind of weenies. They didn't like the vegetables, so I had to strain the vegetables out. But they loved it, especially when they were getting sick. It's very alkalinizing. Miso would be up in this area. Umeboshi plum. Umeboshi plums are well known for helping alkalinize your system. Another great story in Nagasaki. Nagasaki when it was bombed. Okay. There was a Japanese doctor, and his last name started with an A. Very long name. He was the head of this hospital, and down in the basement they had huge barrels of white rice, umeboshi, plums, and miso. Well, when the bomb hit, people were coming to the hospital, and you can imagine chunks of skin falling off, and they were in terrible, terrible shape. And he told everybody in that hospital, do not drink the water from out there, because they had a river that went underneath, a kind of stream, I guess. But only eat the umeboshi, the miso, and the white rice. And they all survived. Whereas these people who were coming in, they were drinking from the river and the radiation. So It's extremely alkalinizing. So umeboshi plums are wonderful. Greens are very good too. So with the greens, there is kind of a controversy that you don't access the, okay, here's the shape of a plant cell. It's kind of a rectangle. The walls are very sturdy. So a lot of times if people are eating raw diet or doing smoothies, it's hard for their body to access the nutrients inside. It's better to have your greens steamed or blanched so that your body can access those minerals. Greens are very high in minerals also. So that's another one. Another one is seaweed, which everybody just loves. But seaweed's very good, very high. Again, it's has more sodium, so it's more alkalinizing in the body. When I was teaching, you could almost set a time watch and watch the kids, because like 1 week after Halloween, they got sick. 1 week after Easter, they got sick because all that sugar, their bodies couldn't handle it. So keep in mind, sugar is not good. Okay. How to balance the American diet, because a lot of people aren't going to go out and buy umeboshi plums and miso and stuff like that. Here's some different recipes you can make on your own that will help you boost your immune system. So first one is making broth from chicken. And it's really simple. You just get your slow cooker, you get good quality chicken, a whole chicken. Put it in there, fill water up over it, put in half a cup of apple cider vinegar, put the lid on, put it on low. About 12 hours later, take out the chicken. Now some people, they put cloves of garlic in, or some people put onion in. You can do any of that you want. Let the meat cool off, and then you can make your chicken noodle soup from what was made. Don't scoop off the fat. You need the fat. Fat is your friend, okay? For beef, you can get those bones that are like so, where you can see the marrow. You stick those on a cookie sheet, put it in the oven, about 200 degrees for about 4 or 5 hours. Take it out, put it in the slow cooker, fill it with water quite a ways up, about halfway. Same thing, half a cup apple cider vinegar. Do that for about 12 hours, and then you can make beef noodle soup. Okay. Miso soup is a little different, so I'm going to go through that. What I do, I get a small pan, and I saute veggies. I cut them up, saute them small amount with a little bit of coconut oil. Then I put in 2 cups of water. There's all kinds of miso out there. The best miso I have found is from South River Miso out of Pennsylvania. It's wonderful. Then you use half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of miso per cup of water. I put that in a little bowl of miso. Then I scoop out some of that broth, puree it, then I put that into the pan. It's kind of hard to chase it around in the pan. We used to do that. Another thing is increase the greens in your diet. Always increase the greens. Try to do at least a serving of greens every day, if not 2 servings. That will help alkalinize you also. I want to do a quick thing of vitamins, because a lot of people are very confused as to what to take, what not to take. I tend to say start with the foundation and go up from there. So I would say do vitamin A, because vitamin A is for your mucous membranes and your epithelial cells. It will help slough off the cells so you don't have a little party in there with the germs. B vitamins, you can tell if you're deficient in vitamin A. Jan won't be able to. Okay. Sorry, Jan. Make a fist and then let go and see what color is in your fist. So if you have some yellow or orange, then you've got enough vitamin A. If it's white, you need more vitamin A. So, next is B vitamins. We all need a B complex right now because of stress. And everybody should be taking B vitamin right now. Vitamin C is my friend. I love vitamin C. Please take a lot of vitamin C. It'll keep your immune system up. D3, again, another favorite. I had a blood test done, and I heard Jacobus on the radio, and I thought I was doing pretty good because I have 65. And he said, 80? Was it 75 or 80?
At least, yeah.
And I'm like, So I increased my D about a month ago. So D3 is very important for your immune system, bones and teeth. Vitamin E for oxygen, to get oxygen into your body. Zinc for the immune system. Selenium, and last but not least, iodine.
Iodine?
Iodine. We're kind of in an area, we're at the top of the goiter belt. So it's kind of, a lot of people are very deficient in iodine around here, and the soil is very deficient. So working on getting your iodine in. So the last thing I wanted to say is, right now, because of all the stress makes you more acidic. So the more scared you get, the more headlines you read, the more acidic you become. So the best thing to do is don't read any headlines, or limit it. Read one or two, then turn it off. Go watch a nice movie. Because people are freaking out, and it's making it worse for you. You are hurting yourself by getting so stressed out. Try to find something nice. Watch a movie. Don't watch the news. Okay. Now, I want to talk about these books here that I brought. This one by Weston Price, Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. The pictures in here are worth the price of the book alone. But it's written by Weston Price, who was a dentist. It's a really cool story. In the 30s, he was a dentist in Cleveland, Ohio, and he couldn't figure out why he was seeing this degeneration of people's health. So he said to his wife, who must have been a saint, let's go find some societies where some are exposed to city food or civilized food, and same population is over here, and they are not exposed to civilized food. He went around the whole world. He took pictures, and these pictures are, I mean, they're just shocking, because he finds people who are, I don't know if you can see the top. These people are eating their typical diet, traditional, and down below they're eating the civilized. So what these people are all over the world, everywhere, in the Arctic. He was shocked. They had no cavities, these people who were eating their native foods. And they didn't know what the word cancer meant. So I would highly recommend you read this. The big point he says in here is two things: minerals and K2. Good old K2. This one is also very good, Nourishing Traditions. Stephen Acuff, some of you know him. He contributed to this. The author, Sally Fallon. She goes through a lot of different things in the beginning, talking about different diets, and then she has tremendous amount of recipes using traditional foods, a lot of fermentation. It's a very good book. This one is super good, The Healing Power of Minerals. The guy's name is Paul Bergner. Very interesting. In the beginning, he kind of talks about Weston, but at the back, he compares the minerals and where you can find them. Very well written, very easy. And the last one is an old one. It's Food is Your Best Medicine. And it was written by Dr. Beeler. It's really old, but he talks again about getting your sodium and potassium and getting them up so that you have a good immune system. So, in the end, I'd like to end with, if anybody watching has questions, please come on into Gesundheit. We have a lot of competent people in here who can answer your questions. We will try, and we would love to help you in solving some of the different problems you're dealing with. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in. My presentation is about how to stay healthy before you need herbs, and how to use herbs to stay healthy. So one of the things that I've noticed over the many years I've been working in natural product stores and working with people on herbal medicine, that we the majority of us have been raised in a culture where modern medicine, pharmaceuticals, are what we turn to stay healthy. If we're sick, we go to the doctor and we get pharmaceutical medicine. And these medicines have been miracle cures. The vaccinations, the drugs, they have taken away a lot of suffering and pain for people, but we've also forgotten where we came from and how we stayed healthy before those came around. And now we're starting to return to that. One of my observations with people in stores is that we look to herbs as drug substitutes. So we call them herbal antibiotics, herbal antivirals, herbal, we'll say herbal, and then whatever pharmaceutical character it has that we want to do, we say, what's a good substitute for this? But herbs are not best looked at that way. Herbs are used to strengthen the systems of the body, the natural functioning of our body's processes and organ systems. So first and foremost, we need to be using plants, food, the essential oils that we get from plants to maintain the health of the organism. One of my guiding quotes is from Ron Teagarden's book from 1984 called Chinese Tonic Herbs. And in here he talks about the Taoist masters and how they did not like to be called healers. They said that Tao, through nature, is the only true healer. So you can go and see a person and take some herbs, but it's not until you connect to nature, your own true nature, to the earth and all of the things that it provides, and get in deep connection with how your body works and is most at peace, that true healing comes about. So that's physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And so the Tao is focused on all of those different ways of working with the body. So that's where we get Tai Chi from, and there's, yoga could be put into that category, to calm the mind and strengthen the organ systems and increase circulation, that all work on the immune system. They worked with the tonic herbs that strengthen the body, and we'll talk about those a lot today. Acupressure and acupuncture came from that too, to work with the meridians of the body, and meditation or prayer. So all of those things working on the different levels to support the body as a whole. Another great quote that I like is from Mark Lappe, I think is how you say it, L-A-P-P-E. And he says, "It is the body which ultimately controls infections, not chemicals. Without underlying immunity, drugs are meaningless." So what does that mean? That means that if you get sick, let's just take a standard bacterial infection, and your body is your immune system is very weakened from for whatever reason, be it radiation or you're elderly, but you don't have a good immune system. If you take that antibiotic, it will help you, but ultimately it is the immune system that has to kick in to remove all the byproducts of that infection from the body. So the whole body works together. The liver, the kidneys, the respiratory system, the lymphatic system, because your immune system lives in all of those places to remove that stuff from the body. So just using an antibiotic or a pharmaceutical antiviral isn't enough. We have to come in being very strong. And hopefully we don't need to use what we call, there's a lot of different terms for it, but medicinal herbs, if our bodies are strong, right? So why are some people walking around carrying this new coronavirus or any bacteria or virus and they don't have any symptoms? But it's on them, it's in their body. It's because their immune system is managing it. It's like any ecosystem, like a garden or a healthy forest. If you have all the nutrients in place, then it can balance whatever comes its way. So if you go into a really healthy forest in the United States, you're not going to see a whole lot of dandelion, which is an invasive species from Europe, because the plants are intact, that ecosystem is intact. So a few might be growing, but it doesn't take over like it does in our lawns. And the reason it takes over in our lawns is because we want one species there and it's not in balance with how nature is supposed to be. Just as an example. So we need to look at our bodies the same way as any ecosystem that needs to be maintained on all of the levels. And again, that's mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and then within the physical part of it, it's the nutrients that Jan talked about. Sleep supports our immune system. It helps to keep us calm. I heard on Hidden Brain by Shankar Vedantam recently that there's a lot of research showing that lack of sleep causes cancer. Just lack of sleep. So in addition to food, I would say sleep is right up there equal with how important it is to get sleep to maintain your immune system so your body can fight. And both Jan and Lonnie talked about the vital force and needing to maintain the vital force, and that's what the tonic herbs do. So, so let's just jump into the tonic herbs. So another phrase or term you might be familiar with for tonic herb is adaptogenic herb. And I like both of those terms, but adaptogenic herb or adaptogens is nice because it reminds us that these plants don't go after one thing specifically. It's not like, oh, this is antiviral only, like a drug, or antibacterial, and it's going to kill that one thing. They, by definition, they help you to adapt to multiple different stressors in the body. So what is stress in the body? It could be reading a headline, like Lonnie said. It could be a long day at work. Could be going from low altitude to high altitude. So someone coming from the ocean and going to 5,000 feet or higher, the body has to say, oh, I need more red blood cells to carry more oxygen. And that's a stress on the body because it has to produce those red blood cells. And adaptogens help our body to adapt very quickly and smoothly to the different stressors. Within that category of adaptogenic herbs or tonic herbs, there are many different specialties. And the one I chose 4 to talk about today because they all have immune stimulating properties and antiviral properties specifically, but they are different. So the first one I want to talk about is astragalus. Astragalus is primarily a Chinese herb. It used to be known as Astragalus membranaceus, and now it's Astragalus mongolicus. I believe that's the new species name for it, but it's the same plant. So if you see different names, it's the same plant if you're familiar with it. And the way the Chinese talk about astragalus is that it strengthens the Wei Qi, W-E-I-C-H-I. So Jan was talking about life force. It strengthens your external qi. So if you think about energetically something coming at you, it's like a force field or a barrier. to things invading you. So it doesn't actually keep pathogens from coming onto your body, but it works at that level where it makes you stronger. It is specific, the Chinese talk about it specifically for people who work outside in the cold. It has an affinity for the lungs, which is really nice with this current virus, because we know that one of the primary, or the big thing, is that it goes into the lungs and it causes pneumonia. It's not a flu, it causes pneumonia. So it specifically strengthens the immune system in your lungs. It also has an affinity to the arms and the legs. So that's why people working outside, working really hard, young people, the Chinese like to use astragalus with that category of people. So if you're wondering, well, which plant should I do? You can think about that. But anyone can use it. If you don't work outside in the cold, it still stimulates your immune system. Some of the research on astragalus shows that it stimulates the bone marrow to produce stem cells. So in the blood, everything starts as a stem cell, so it's a blank. It's a blank thing that then the body says, oh, we need a liver cell or a brain cell or this immune cell. And so the stem cells, the more you have of them, the more the body can produce what it needs when it calls to it through chemical activity or whatever signals the body is using to say we need something new. So it's an adaptogen. It lowers your stress levels. It's an immune enhancer, like we talked about. It is specifically antiviral. It's an immunomodulator. So what does that mean? It means it can activate your immune system, and it can also calm down an overactive immune system. And it's good to use it to support the body to fight all viruses. Do we know, am I saying that this is active against the current coronavirus or any one specifically? Well, first of all, nobody knows that. This virus is new. That's why they call it the novel coronavirus. Started in an animal, adapted to humans, and we're just learning about it. So that goes for everything that I'm saying, is that we're talking about supporting the body's immune system, the innate immunity, what we were born with, until the body can adapt and use the adaptive part of the immune system, or and like Jacobus said, when we do have the vaccination for it or the treatments for it, then everything will work together. But right now our bodies are just using its innate immunity with the phagocytosis and macrophages and natural killer cells and going after things that are in the body. So the final thing I want to say about astragalus is that it has been found to prevent or reverse immunosuppression from any source, be it age-related, an overload of bacteria or viruses, or exposure to chemicals or radiation. And so it reverses that immunosuppression, which is really important right now, especially in different populations of people who are challenged by other physical ailments that they're already going through, be it radiation treatment or immunosuppression from, well, we won't get into that because there's other things there. So one way you can use it, besides taking it in a tincture or a capsule, or a way that you can buy it in a here in Gesundheit or in a natural food store, is they're little tongue depressors. It's a root, and they cut them, and they look like medical tongue depressors. And you take those and you put them in chicken soup, if you're making Lonnie's chicken soup, or you can put them in your pot of rice. So as your rice is boiling, it extracts. It's primarily a water-soluble plant, so it extracts the medicine, and then you eat it with your rice. So it's not like you have to go in and be taking medicine all the time or pills. You can put it in your food. And that's a traditional way of using it. Okay, so the next tonic herb I want to talk about is reishi. Reishi is a mushroom. You can grow it yourself. You can go online and find kits to grow it. And it is where astragalus has an affinity for the young. And these are not absolutes. Reishi is a good rejuvenating tonic for elderly people, and especially when combined with true ginsengs. So it's an adaptogenic tonic. It enhances general health. It increases resistance to physical and mental stress. Again, I will repeat what both Jan and Lonnie said, which is this right now, what we are experiencing, all of us, is incredibly emotionally and mentally stressful. We don't know what's happening with our income, with our neighbors, with our grandparents. We don't know what is coming in the next 5 minutes, let alone the next 5 days to 6 months. So the adaptogenic herbs, and reishi in particular, really help with mental stress and maintaining calm. So reishi is also good for helping people to sleep. So if you're having trouble sleeping through this, with reishi you're going to get the benefits of sleep, the immune system protection and stimulation, and it's going to calm your mental state. It's also anti-inflammatory and an antihistamine. It's a really good plant to include in prevention of seasonal allergies. So you'll find it in some seasonal allergy remedies before the pollens come. It's an antihistamine, but it also supports your immune system, so you're not having that histamine response when they do come around. In addition to that, it induces interferon production, and that means that it's antiviral. It's shown to be active against a number of viruses. It also stimulates interleukin 1 and 2 phagocytosis, and it activates macrophage activity. So if you don't know what those words are, basically it means it stimulates the part of the immune system that goes and eats up all of the things that it doesn't want in the body. And then it takes it to the lymphatic system and moves it out. Rhodiola. Rhodiola is very popular right now. Astragalus and reishi were really popular years ago. They've kind of fallen out of favor, but their efficacy has not. Rhodiola and ashwagandha are the two herbs I'm going to talk about next. And I chose these plants because not only are they easy to find in stores, I didn't want to talk about things that you can't find because you're probably not going to go out into the mountains, most of you, and collect rhodiola. Although it does grow in the Rocky Mountains, it has an affinity for cold climates and or high altitudes. None of us talked about the doctrine of signatures. So rhodiola was made famous by the Russians. They used it for their athletes. The Russians were really keen on adaptogens also because they live and work in cold climates, and they wanted to keep people's life force really strong. So they were using it for their athletes, so people who are out in the cold, working hard, taxing their body. Athletics is challenging to the body, right? You go out and you run, it tears down the muscles, and you have to rebuild your muscles, just as a general thing. So exercising and being very active is good for the body and good for the immune system, but it's also taxing. So rhodiola is specific for people who are working really hard physically. It increases endurance and energy levels, stamina. It increases your mood. It helps with work productivity because it gives you more energy. It's an immune tonic, it's antiviral, and they call it an anti-stressor. So most people think in terms of You know, on bottles now it'll say energy tonic, and they'll say, well, I thought it was for sleep.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of confusion comes in with these plants, is that the adaptogens help us to adapt. So if we're exhausted from running a marathon, say, not me, then using a plant like rhodiola is going to help to recover your energy. It helps with your mental status, because when you're exhausted, you can't think straight. And so one of the beautiful things about this for what's happening right now is that it helps with brain fog. And brain fog is one of the things that is being talked about with this virus as a primary symptom. People say, I couldn't think about anything. I just couldn't think straight. So, anything else? You probably don't want to use this plant if you have trouble sleeping at night, or use it during the day until you know how you respond to it, because it does give you energy. It is not a stimulant, but it does give you more energy. And then there's ashwagandha, kind of the balance to rhodiola. Ashwagandha, the Latin name is, or the scientific name is Withania somnifera. Somniferous is to sleep, to be really sleepy. So it is good for increasing energy, but it is also a really good medicine to help you sleep at night. And again, how does it do that? It's magic. It balances what the body needs. So some people will take it and they feel energy right away, but other people who are running on a lot of adrenaline, it calms them down. So it promotes vitality and vigor in people who are debilitated from long-term illness, so chronic fatigue syndrome, brain fog, again, any kind of long-term, Jacobus is telling me to speak louder, kind of long-term illness that wears us down, or people just who never take a day off, and they go, they don't sit down to eat, they never rest their bodies, they just keep pumping out more cortisol, more adrenaline, and then all of a sudden they're completely fatigued. So this calms them down and slowly builds their energy levels, and it supports the immune system, because when you're depleted, your immune system doesn't function properly. So a good time to take ashwagandha, or a good person to be taking ashwagandha, is someone who has been tired for a very long time, doesn't sleep very well, has chronic illness, but anyone can take it. You might need to play with some of these different adaptogenic herbs to see which one works best for you. So there are multitudes of amazing plants and adaptogenic herbs, but I just wanted to focus on those four because of their affinity to the immune system and for the stress, balancing the stress that we're all going through. There's a lot of good books on adaptogenic herbs. You can come in and talk to Jan or Lonnie. They both know a lot about the adaptogens, but I want to leave it at that. So some other well-known plants that I want to talk about are immune stimulants. So we're moving away from the adaptogenic herbs that help to balance multiple organ systems and focus specifically on the immune system. So echinacea, Echinacea purpurea specifically, we'll just say echinacea, is a plant that stimulates the white blood cell count and activity. It stimulates interferon and interleukin levels. It stimulates macrophage activity and phagocytosis. So it has a broad immune function in that because it stimulates so many different parts of the immune system, it's anti-inflammatory. So it stimulates the immune system to go and munch up all of that inflammation that's in your body. It's an immune modulator. So some people say, and of course you need to talk to your doctor about this if you have an autoimmune disease, but it is not been proven across the board that people with autoimmune diseases cannot use echinacea. So I'm not saying to use it if you have one, but echinacea is an immune modulator, so it helps to balance both parts, if it's overactive or if it's underactive. But you need to talk to your doctor, someone who really knows how echinacea works for your specific autoimmune disease. It is directly antiviral. It stimulates antibody production, and you can use it in all situations where the immune system is challenged, which is pretty much every situation, especially right now. So people will say, so first I want to say, please use the adaptogenic herbs first to build your deep immunity and support your adrenal glands and all the functions of your systems in your body. But echinacea is safe to use on a daily basis. One of the myths that is out there is that you can only use echinacea for 10 days to 2 weeks. And have you heard that?
Yes, totally.
Where they showed, they took the blood levels, they tested the parts of the immune system in someone's blood, so they took blood, and before they gave them echinacea, and then started giving them echinacea, and they showed the activity of the immune system, white blood cell count and activity, rising for 10 days. And then at 10 days, it dropped off dramatically. And so when it was translated into English from German, they left out the important part that they stopped giving echinacea at 10 days. So it did not show that it stopped working at 10 days. It showed that at 10 days when they stopped giving it, yes, the white blood cell count and activity started to drop off, but it leveled off higher than where it started. And interferon and interleukin levels continued to rise through that period. So it had a lasting effect on the immune system. So do you need to take it every day? Depends on the situation that you're in. Years ago when I was working with someone, or working in a store, and people would come in, this is in a college town, people would come in and say, oh, echinacea stopped working for me. Like I have a cold, oh, are you taking echinacea? Echinacea stopped working for me. Well, what do you mean it stopped working for you? I've been taking it every day for 3 years, and I could party, I could stay up late, I could study and go to work, and I never got sick. And now I'm getting sick, so it stopped working. And what they failed to realize is that they were using it to prop up their system when they should have been sleeping, finding more balance in their life, taking the adaptogenic or tonic herbs to support their system. Maybe astragalus, or these young people who are college students, some rhodiola. So the echinacea does not stop working as far as we know, but if you don't have enough in your body, enough nourishment and nutrients, you can't make it. It goes back to that statement that we had earlier, that it's the body that does the healing and everything else supports it. So yes, sometimes we need antibiotics because we have such an overload of bacteria in our body. It calms it down so our body can do a better job fighting it. But we have to provide the nutrients and the nourishment that it needs. So another kind of unsung, forgotten herb is boneset. There's not much scientific research on bone set, but it has been shown to stimulate phagocytosis even more than echinacea. It is a traditional herb in Western herbalism, meaning in the United States, you know, pre-doctors and everything else, used for colds and flus primarily. We'll just leave it at that. So the symptoms of colds and flus. It also has been shown to be be a pain reliever, similar to aspirin. One of my, I know I said I wanted to talk about plants that were more widely available, but a plant that I really like is called Baptisia, or wild indigo root. This plant is similar to astragalus in its immune stimulating actions. It's really a hard hitting, stimulates the immune system. So the research on it shows that it stimulates stem cell production from the bone marrow like astragalus does, but it is not a tonic. So it's not something that you would take on a daily basis to support your immune system. It would be for either very chronic illness where you need to kick your immune system into gear, or something very acute where your body's just not fighting it and you need that extra help. It's energetically hot, it can make you sweat, but it really stimulates things. It's not something you'd want to take necessarily on its own. You would combine it with echinacea, Baptisia, myrrh, some of the other supporting herbs that help to temper it that aren't so hot. Okay, so I want to talk about St. John's wort. It's pretty well known, well, it's well known as an antidepressant, but it's also known as an antiviral. And I didn't see anything that talks about it being an antiviral against any of the coronaviruses, but it is an antiviral against HIV, hepatitis C, cold sores, and but the reason I wanted to talk about it in this context is because it's really uplifting to the spirits. So people think about it for depression, but an extract of the fresh flower of St. John's wort, not dried, it doesn't have the same activity. It's like infuses you with sunshine. It's an immediate lift to your spirit. So if you're in a situation where, say, you're not clinically depressed, you're normally a pretty happy person, but something sudden happens, like you lose your job or you're quarantined and you're not allowed to leave the house, or anything that is just sudden, St. John's wort helps to calm down that, oh no, what's going to happen? Or I don't like this. It's more of a situational kind of uplifting herb rather than an antidepressant. And it does have antiviral activity against other things that we might be fighting. But it has to be fresh, or an extract of the fresh plant. Lomatium is, and St. John's wort, as most of you know, grows everywhere around here. No one will mind if you collect it. So Lomatium is a native plant to the Mountain West. It's very resinous. It has an affinity to the lungs, and it's specifically antiviral. It's, again, not a plant that you would take as a tonic. You don't need to take it before you're sick, but when you are sick and have a lot of lung congestion, things that you need to move up and out, it's antiviral and it helps with the mucous membranes in the lungs. Red root. Red root is also known as Jersey tea, and they drank it during the when we couldn't get tea. What was it called? The Tea Party, I guess. During the Tea Party, because it has mild levels of caffeine in the leaf, but the root is red and it makes this deep, beautiful red tincture, and it's really good for anything in the lymphatic system. So swollen glands, our throat is one of the first lines of defense. So we take things into our body, and our glands, our lymph nodes, house part of our immune system. So when they get swollen, it's a sign that it's working. So red root helps the lymph system and the lymph glands to work better. So it stimulates immunity. It also helps the lymph takes in all of the metabolic waste from the immune system and helps to move it out of the body. So any kind of swelling or inflamed lymph nodes, red root is really good. It has a lot of other great properties, but I'll leave it at that for red root. So again, there are so many immune stimulating herbs that will help with the symptoms of different colds and flus, but I wanted to leave you with the shifting your mindset about how to use plants, that you want to focus on building the deep nourishment, being really healthy, staying calm, and then add in things that are specific to what you're going through, instead of coming into stores and buying everything out and looking just for specific antiviral things that we don't even know work for this specific virus. I did want to say, I was going to start off this way, but I got distracted. So coronavirus is a class of viruses that are named corona because on their surface they have little spikes that reminded the people who first named them of the spikes of a crown. So there are 7 known human coronaviruses, 4 that are very common, and then the 3 new or novel coronaviruses, MERS, SARS, and now COVID-19. So we had just been calling it coronavirus, but there's a lot of coronaviruses. So COVID stands for, CO is for corona, VI is for virus, and D is for disease. So they're calling it coronavirus disease 19 because it emerged in 2019. So COVID-19 is that specific coronavirus. So it's great when we see things that say, oh, it's effective against coronavirus, but reading in books or the research, but we don't know what is effective against this coronavirus. So keep in mind that you want to support your innate immunity until the adaptive part of our immune system kicks in and we have medicines to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Margie. Hope this was helpful. For me it was. I learned some things.
You did?
I sure did. Didn't know about the red root. I'm going to drink some red root tea. Didn't know about, well, Lomatium I knew. OSHA would be not a good one, I think.
Yeah, I didn't talk about OSHA because there's no OSHA on the shelves. And
Oil of oregano? People come in for oil of oregano.
Yeah, that's a very strong, so oil of oregano, that falls into the essential oil category, and
Also,
it's a
yeah.
very potent
Antiviral, antifungal.
Yeah, it
combination.
helps with the immune system, but it's not what I would take on a daily basis just to build immunity.
Yeah. Well, the bottom line is this, that the information out there about herbs, essential oils, dietary choices we make on a daily basis just for ourselves to build our immunity is a plethora of options, and you have to see what works for you if you live by yourself, or what works for you practically as you live with roommates, partners, family, that works for you. And so it is a tough time. Like Margie says, we just do not know exactly what is going to work for COVID-19. But we do hope that the information we have shared with you today, that it's practical, a practical application that's going to be helpful. And I just want you to know that the focus of the store that I opened up in 2007 together with my wife has always been about education, information, sharing knowledge, wisdom from so many people who have gone before us. We're standing on the shoulders of a wealth of information about health, and we are just tapping, scratching on the surface. The deeper we scratch, the more we discover. And we do hope that we have stimulated you a little bit to start incorporating some of these methods that we discussed, but at the same time that you for yourself are going to learn more and share it with others. That is our focus. So we hope you enjoyed it, that this will be working for you. We wish you well on your own path and how you are traveling with your family through the next few weeks, few months, who knows. It's a tough time, but we appreciate you tuned in today, that you learned something, and we talk to you again, hopefully in the very near future. Thank you very much.